Bros episode. This is Hafman Bro solo. I got some announcements. We had a couple of quick things to talk about in relation to the Packers and Aaron Rodgers situation, a few other updates. I wanted to clarify something that I learned today, too, which is really important. So, just some things I wanted to kind of touch on and jump on here. I know we normally don't do shows today. It is Ben's anniversary. So, congratulations to Ben and his wife now, celebrating their May the 4th. Be with you guys, as always. I'll never forget that wedding. And of course, big Star Wars lovers. So happy anniversary to Ben and Jess. Okay, so a couple of things here. First, I got to put on my shirt too. See the able, not the label. Got this from a friend, and it's a great message. Stoughton strong. And again, it's really about seeing people's capabilities and abilities and not focusing on the disabilities when we talk about people, what they can do, what they can accomplish. If on a side note on that, a project that I've worked on on my own is the Go Local Wisconsin podcast. And a few months ago, I got a chance to talk with the owners of Donut Sam's in Menominee, Wisconsin. And it's a great story. Um, Absolutely great stuff. They have a kid with Down syndrome, Sam, wanted to do something. He was interested in working and future employment. They saw limited opportunities for him. They didn't see a lot of options for other kids with Down syndrome or other challenges for employment, and so they created their own donut shop with connecting with the community and the school district to be an opportunity for younger kids to come in and work who maybe have a disability and learn and have a job and experience what that's like. So that is an awesome video and interview, not because of me, but because of those two people and their great business, Donut Sam's in Menominee, Wisconsin. Okay, have to get that plug in there because it's good stuff and it fits with the shirt. All right, Packer stuff here. I don't want to spend too much time. Hey, Bernard, how you doing? I don't want to spend too much time on here today, but I did have a couple things. One is Andy Herman did a really great overview of kind of the Rodgers Packers situation on things that we feel we're pretty certain about, that we know at this point, a lot of things that are just speculation and are unknowns. And Andy Herman's a pretty low key guy. Unlike Ben and I, sometimes we're not that low key as you've experienced if you know this show. But Andy Herman really laid it out great. He did a great job of talking about the things that we know for sure and the things that we don't know, and what that means, what we can kind of infer, and what are the possible outcomes here. But in the meantime, also kind of just debunking some of the myths and some of the wild stories and accusations and things like that are flying around. Now we know that the Rodgers haters are just running with everything. And Bernard, you're tired of the Rodgers drama. Me too. But keep in mind this: Rodgers and the Packers both were trying to deal with this privately for the last few months. So I don't know who let this out, but it was reported that Aaron Rodgers was not happy that it got out publicly, because why would he want this to get out publicly? And the Packers certainly didn't want to deal with it publicly either. So it seems like somebody let this out, and I don't know who that is. But I did tell you, I scooped you the other day with the 4 Packer job openings all of a sudden over the weekend. So perhaps someone in the Packers organization just couldn't keep their mouth closed, caught wind of it, and that's my theory anyway. Maybe there's a better theory. Maybe there's a real theory that'll be revealed later, but that's my theory. Glad you're still a Packers fan, Bernard, no matter what. Me too. Me too, although it can be challenging at times. I just don't like the way the situation is for anybody, of course. And again, that's why I think, of course, they wanted to keep it private. Look, this kind of stuff happens on a lot of teams. Aaron Rodgers is not the only player to be upset with the team management or ownership or the way things are going. So it happens in a lot of places, and a lot of times it's dealt with quietly. And that's what the Packers are trying to do. And now it's out in the open, and here we go. Let's see. Oh, Corey jumped on. Anything with Aaron Rodgers is clickbait. He's a gold mine. I know. They're just going crazy. If you hadn't seen this, here it is. I'm going to get to the real stuff in a second, but I talk about the 2 blowhards. Well, of course, Colin Cowherd loves to slam on Rodgers any chance he can get. And earlier today, of course, after Terry Bradshaw had to spout off on some regional shows, yesterday. Well, the big time Fox network, their guys wanted to get him on today. So Terry Bradshaw, here you go, right? What happened? Aaron Rodgers and Colin Cowherd and Terry Bradshaw. So those two guys talking about Aaron Rodgers. Well, of course, Cowherd. Let's get Terry on here to say all the stuff. Look at him right here. Look how happy they look talking about it. I didn't even listen to it because I know what it is. It's just trash. Bradshaw doesn't know what he's talking about. He doesn't know anything about the situation. And again, like I said yesterday, he keeps thinking he's upset about or worried about being replaced by a second year quarterback. That's not what this is about. There's no way that's what this is about. And the people at Mina Kimes on ESPN and all these other big time national networks and national media. So I'm going to say this: Colin Cowherd, Terry Bradshaw, other national media. I will speak to you. You won't hear me, of course, but I will speak to you in case you want to be enlightened. Stop talking about this, that this all relates and is all stemming from the drafting of Jordan Love. It is not. Aaron Rodgers is not threatened by Jordan Love. He knows he's a way better quarterback than Jordan Love is now and probably will ever be. Aaron Rodgers just wanted a commitment from the team. And we're going to talk more about truth and trust on Friday when we talk about this stuff. But really, yes, did the pick itself not help? Sure. But it's in a long line of things that we talked about. Corey and I talked about a number of things yesterday. Ben and I talked about some things on Sunday. And we'll talk about more possibilities on Friday a little bit, but we want to focus on some other things. The other part to it is that Aaron Rodgers, in addition to all of those things, he just really wanted to have some sort of partnership. And I'll talk about an example somebody talked about today. I think it was Rich Eisen I listened to. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Credit Andy Herman again, a guy who I've been hard on at times, but he had a great report. He said, okay, do teams have to give players a heads up when they're going to draft somebody, at their position and a high pick? No. But he said that the Indianapolis Colts went out of their way to directly contact Marlon Mack before they drafted Jonathan Taylor. Now, that's a running back, not a quarterback. A running back where you need multiple guys every year because there are injuries and other things and guys get tired and all of that. But the Colts went out of their way to be like, hey, Marlon, we're drafting this guy, bringing him in just to give you a heads up. We think he's going to help the team. And so it's not the issues with the pick probably were not, hey, I'm upset you drafted this quarterback because I'm threatened by him. It was, hey, I was just on the Pat McAfee show talking about how great it would be to get, a lineman or a receiver or somebody else. And then this is what you guys do with no heads up to me. And the other part is really about another wasted pick that's not going to help the team win the Super Bowl after they were, trying to get there. And we're, again, a few players short this last year. But we know all what happened in the 2020 draft. It was a disaster. But those are really sticking points related to that pick. But again, so much of this goes back way further, and it built over time. And it's not about Jordan Love being picked and the fact that it was a first-round quarterback. So all the national media that keeps running on that, either start tuning them out because they're not going to drop it. The ones that want to keep running with it, they're not going to drop it. Okay, the other thing Andy Herman talked about, which I have to give him credit for, which I did not realize, I was under the impression, and I apologize for misinforming people on our show, but I was under the impression that if Aaron Rodgers retired and stayed away from football for a year, that he would then have the opportunity to call his own terms and come back and play for whatever team he wants. But that is not the way his contract is set up. The Packers own him. The Packers own his rights for 3 more years. And I did not realize that. So when I was talking about Rodgers' options or the way this situation could potentially end, and that retirement would be one of them, if he retires, he has to fully retire. He doesn't get to come back and play for another team. He would have to come back to the Packers. and then he can try to get a trade or whatever else. But that's why retirement is not going to be part of the resolution here, because he still said he wants to play another 5 to 7 years. He said that earlier this year, and reigning MVP of the league. Of course, he's going to want to play. He's awesome still, right? So if he doesn't work this out with Green Bay, or the Packers don't work this out with him, he's stuck. And that was something I did not realize. I thought he had an opportunity to kind of get out of it, do the Favre thing where I retire and then I come back and play for a different team. Then I retire and I come back and play for a different team. Then I retire and come back and play for a different team. But his contract contractually, he's not in that same situation. So he has no out. He has no out. So I don't know where, but I did want to clarify that point because I mistakenly made that assumption and said that the other day. So I like to be truthful and honest here. The other thing is, so we learned that. Check out Andy Herman's video from today. It was very good, very informative. It kind of laid it out, in a very low key way about what makes sense, what we know, what we don't know. The only thing he gave a little too much possible credibility to is this claim that Rodgers said, he wants Goody fired in order for him to return, and that's again, AJ Hawk yesterday said that's total BS. There's no way that was said. And I'll believe AJ Hawk and the guy who talked directly to him, and also not just because of that, but also Rodgers' long track record of not being a line in the sand kind of guy. He's going to work with the situations, and he's also smart enough to understand football and the business of it. And in addition to that, his contract situation also makes me think again that would be the case too, because he understands that the Packers own him for the next 3 years. Whether he goes and retires for a year or not and comes back, they still own him for 3 more years. So he understands that's not an option for him either. So he's got to work it out with these guys, or they got to figure out a way to commit to him for more than 1 year. That's the only way this will probably be resolved, but hopefully it comes together. So those are the things we learned. Another quick announcement. So we're tinkered with the name here a little bit. And I understand that in order for us to be taken more seriously here at Hafen Bros, I have to pull back on some of my natural Chandler Bing-esque instincts by always wanting to incorporate the lowest rung of comedy into a lot of things that I say and do. So the potty humor, if you will. So I'm not banning the fart gun. The fart gun will still remain. It's more of a celebratory thing at times. Can't overdo the fart gun. Although in my estimation, there is never too much fart gun. But again, I've got to rein it in for the potential viewers out there that might want serious content. And then the other part is we are going to tweak the name. We're rebranding here with a more serious approach. Now, it doesn't mean we won't be entertaining, but I do want to be a little more level-headed about this, a little more journalistic about the way I talk about the Packers, and pull myself back a little bit emotionally so I don't yell, because I got scolded by mom. Too much hollering, she said, over the weekend in some of our videos about the draft. So, I'm 44, but when mom says too much hollering, I don't care how old I am, how old you are, you got to listen, especially with Mother's Day coming up. So take a more professional approach, a more professional name that will match that approach. So although the Hafman brothers poo could have resulted in some great things potentially, it's not the image or the brand that we want to necessarily put out there. So we're going to be true to ourselves, be true to our best selves in a slightly more professional way. Not overly professional. Don't get me wrong. Hey, there'll still be some antics and some nonsense, of course, but and try to mix that in a little bit too. So that's what I know. Anyway, that stuff you're not caring about. The other things probably not either. But the important things are that Aaron Rodgers contractually, the Packers own him for 3 more years, whether he retires or not and tries to come back. They own him. So they have the power. They are in charge of when he goes. And I think that's what this whole final stage is all about, is he wants a little more power to decide, if he moves on or not at a time. And then the other part, of course, just letting you know about the blowhards Bradshaw and Cowherd teaming up to bash Rodgers. All right. Take care of yourselves. Be well. Stay well. Go Pack.